The real reason why a real relationship has not come towards you yet, if you will, is simply, and I'm not talking about like those short-term, like snippet types of relationships or those false hopes or this or that. Sorry, I just burped, confirmation burp. But I'm not talking about any of that. What I'm talking about here is the real long-lasting relationship with a girl that you are attracted to and a girl that is also attracted to you. Amanda, why hasn't this happened for me yet? Well, stop thinking it's not going to, because there are plenty of people in the world where it happens to, that on paper you may be like, hey, this person isn't that different from me. Why am I always comparing myself? Like, this person isn't crazy unrelatable to what I bring to the table and what I have to offer as a human being. So what's having them go into a relationship, something I want? What's like giving them this access to human intimacy, something I need? And then what's stopping me from having that? And the reality is that the reason why you're not in a relationship yet is quite frankly because you're not ready. You have not gotten enough time in an intimate setting with you and your parts, being vulnerable with one other person. And that lack of vulnerability leads to a closed off reality, because a lot of you have like parts that are just waiting to be like a waterfall. Like, a lot of you guys have like this like stalled waterfall, or maybe like a fire hydrant, and like the minute you open it, like a bunch of water is just gonna come like blasting out, right? That's kind of a lot of your guys' parts. And what I mean by parts is some deep emotions, some shadow sides. Okay, when we build up this wall, oh, I'm just so strong, Amanda, I'm just so unfeeling, I don't need those emotions. And why has the universe waited so long to give me a girlfriend when this guy, like dumb Bob over here, can easily get a girlfriend? Like, are women just bad at picking, this type of thing? But if you're looking for the real stuff, you have to be ready for it. And how are you supposed to be ready for it if you don't have the capacity to get vulnerable and get real with one other person? You have to think about the times where life has been very rough for you, very miserable for you. Have you worked through all that misery yet? Is there a shadow side of something that you have not faced yet, that you have not come to the conclusion of yet? And if you find that there is, this could be the reason why you're not, quote unquote, ready for a relationship yet. It does not mean it's going to happen, but you have to get real with yourself. And when you're asking, Amanda, why am I not in a relationship? I know this is going to sound stupid, but you got to first ask, how is the relationship with myself? And no, you do not need to be perfect, okay? This does not mean that you need to go 5 years into the most intensive therapy in order to be in a relationship. You do not need to become a Buddhist monk of sorts and give up every unhealthy addiction that you've ever had in order to have a relationship. These things aren't true. But you can't have this type of relationship with yourself where you're constantly walking on eggshells, where you're constantly waiting for that fire just to go off, where you haven't talked to one other person about the way you felt in this reality that you've been suffering alone miserably. When you've not talked to one other person, then a relationship is probably not what's going to be the next thing knocking on your doorstep. But that does not mean it's never going to happen. It's just, are you ready to get real with yourself? Because this cope about modern women and feminism and this type of thing, this is not getting real with the real stuff in relationships. At the end of the day, they're a choice. They're not reliant on predictability. They are reliant on the fact that you and this other person are going to be taking this big giant risk to create something, and it might not work out. And are you ready to face that type of emotion? Are you ready to face that type of whirlwind? But love, it's going to be so worth it, but it's not going to feel worth it if you have all these pent up parts that have never gotten a chance to speak. because you didn't want to be vulnerable and you were ignoring them. Look within. Look within. And I know you guys are tired of hearing that, but I'm being dead set. There is nothing that is stopping you from being in a relationship. But if you think that you're an unbearable kind of person to be around, you need to examine why. Because let's say you do find someone willing to accept you. What if they have an off day? How are you going to handle that? That's what true relationships are. It's putting myself in the situation. How am I going to handle this? I want a family. How am I going to handle a miscarriage? You know what I mean? How am I going to handle this? You have to kind of get real about your character here, especially if you're looking for something long-term and healthy, which, hey, why wouldn't you be? You know what I mean? Not saying that everyone should. I know everyone's different, okay? But on this channel, you guys know me. Like, I'm all about that true romance. And with that being said, I will see you guys in a future YouTube video. Bye, y'all.